Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll just get started in about a minute. We're just waiting for a few more to hop in here. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are across Canada. Welcome to the Restaurants Canada webinar, How to Run a Successful Restaurant Online during COVID-19 and Beyond. My name is Roberto Sarju, Director of Marketing and Communications here at Restaurants Canada, and I'll be your moderator today. Restaurants have had to adapt quickly to COVID-19 as the public health situation has evolved across Canada. With the need of managing strict health and safety measures while still reaching customers at home, the move to online has been vital. Thankfully, with the number of digital tools available, any restaurant can get online today. But how do you stay successful? Today, I'm joined by Jordan Williamson, Senior Product Manager at Moneris, and he'll share with us some of the ways restaurants have been implementing digital payment solutions to create a safer dining experience and reach new customers in new ways, including using digital payment tools during delivery on a patio or at the table. Ways restaurants have been combining digital tools to create a fantastic customer experience. And then, of course, tips on how to help future-proof your restaurant for changes in those consumer preferences. You know, one of my favorite quotes has always been, "Those who will win move at the speed of the consumer." And I think that's more, as relevant as it is today. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that you can submit questions by typing into the questions area of the control panel. You may send your question at any time during this presentation. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available in a few days, and participants will be sent a link to the webpage. Finally, if you'd follow along online, we are doing some Instagram stories, and we'll be on Twitter as well at RestaurantsCA, and on Instagram at Restaurants Canada. With that said, let's kick things off. I'd like to turn it over to Jordan. Jordan, thanks so much for being here today.
Perfect. Thanks, Roberto, for the introduction. So we're just going to get started. Just navigate to the next page. So we're going to go through just the different ways to get online, whether that's online ordering, e-commerce, or a new payment experience. Before getting into all the ways that you can get online, you should know that sudden changes to your business offerings can be flagged as unusual behavior to your payment processor. So what I mean by this is, if all of your transactions have been on a payment terminal with the card present, and you've been doing all your transaction volume like that for years, and then suddenly, like in the middle of March, you switch to all card not present transactions, or where you're keying in the card number through the terminal, this can be flagged as unusual behavior and could prompt your payment processor to lock your account or block transactions or anything like that. So, when you're capable of doing so, it's always best to call your payment processor and let them know, hey, normally I don't do orders over the phone, but now I have to. Am I good to go? And they can just check your account, make sure you're good to go, so that you don't have a gap in payment processing. Obviously, that's the ideal circumstance where how things are going to change. But with the current climate, obviously, some changes can't be expected. This year's a great example. But once you've had a chance to settle into the new method, or if you find your settlements are being delayed already, just pick up your phone, quick call to your processor. It'll make a world of difference for you. So next we're going to get into online ordering. So, typically for restaurants, one of the number one ways for, whether it's delivery or a takeout is, receiving orders over the phone, either bringing a terminal to the door or keying something in. And that's great. And it works for the average transaction volume that we have. However, to answer the phone, you have to be at the store. To answer the phone, you have to have someone available to take those phone calls. And that can always be challenging. So being able to go online instead of on the phone allows you to have 24/7 service. So if someone's planning to have a catering order or just want to order ahead for, Friday night's dinner, they can put it through on Tuesday at 2 a.m. You can be sleeping in your bed and they can put an order through and it's waiting for you, whether it's on your POS or your email or, a variety of different ways for you to respond to when you're ready. Obviously, also, online orders are paid securely with lower processing fees. So if you're taking orders over the phone, that's a higher fraud environment because you can't necessarily validate who's on the other end of the phone or whether that's their actual card. Where if they're logging in online, you benefit from the fact that typically they've signed into some sort of sign-in wall. So whether that's through a marketplace
Muted.
on your website or they're using Apple Pay and Google Pay, they've kind of verified themselves already. So with that additional verification, you're offered lower processing fees, which is always great. Also, when you're doing things online, it's always easier to run short-term promotions. So you can just say, oh, this Monday, we're going to offer a 2-for-1 special, or buy this, get that free. So those are things that you can update on the fly, and if it runs out of stock, you can take it down. So it's very easy to do that. Also, typically, we notice trends where if you're ordering online, the average ticket size gets a little higher than if you're calling over the phone because they're seeing all the options. If I'm calling my local pizza place and I'm putting in an order, I know that I want a medium pizza. But if I look on their website and I can see that they have some, a salad or some sides or something, I might be tempted by that. So, it's a win-win all around. When we think of ordering online, most of us are thinking about Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, or any of these other providers, and they're all great and they offer a lot of value to you. However, there's alternatives to this. YouEat, for example, makes a competitive difference for your brand in your restaurant. So what YouEat is an entirely white labeled solution that you can customize, which means restaurants can give the impression that you've built your own platform. So you can see here, this is a restaurant called Copper Branch, and they've used YouEat to have their entire branding online. So when you go to their website, which is just eatcopperbranch.com, and they're on the online ordering portion, you don't even see that this is YouEat except for the little tag at the bottom. You really feel like this company is a company that's on the cutting edge of things to do. You're getting a platform very much like Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes can offer you, but it's entirely branded for you. And that helps you carry your brand through your online order. So if I'm on another marketplace and I'm ordering from whatever restaurant, I'm not getting the unique feeling from those restaurants, where if I go onto their website and it's enabled through YouEat, I can see their branding, their logo, their messages. They can give me little tidbits of information throughout that you might not be able to do on other platforms. So it's very, very interesting. Of course, there's other benefits to this as well. So in addition to everything I've stated, you can keep invaluable data on customer information and online behavior. So one of the biggest things in the e-commerce space is like cart abandonment. So someone add something into the cart and they left. You can see how often that's happening. You can see you figure out why it's happening, and you can address that so that you can close more sales. So these tools are all here just to make your experience easier and give you all the tools you need to get online. So this was an interesting quote. What we found was that restaurants have a vibrant digital connection to their customers. Restaurants that don't just rely on third-party marketplace for sales, restaurants that actually have their own direct channels are the ones that do best. And this is what we were just saying, right? You can give your own brand through the website. You can give your own message. You have a great business. You have a great brand. And that's what your customers and your guests love. And you can give it to them on the online platform as well. So a few tips for promoting online. Obviously, you want to be searchable, you want to be exclusive, and you want to be present. But what does that mean? So make sure your business can be found online. So set up official social media accounts and websites so that consumers can learn more about your products, services, and keep abreast of updates, especially during COVID. Things have had to change very quickly regarding hours, services, safety protocols. This gives consumers a way to get in touch with questions they have. You can create exclusive offers or secret menus only to be shared online. So you can post up on Instagram and saying, hey, between this time and this time only, come in to get this. You know, it feels exclusive. It feels like I'm an insider. So it's really like the next generation of loyalty programs. You can do this through online channels, like I said, on social media. You can also start curating an email list, so you can start sending out emails on these promotions. Whether it's a weekend exclusive menu or simply just a new dish that you want to test out, adding that exclusivity of only being able to order it online for a short window of time helps to drive sales. And of course, you want to participate in your community online. So you can find relevant communities online on Facebook, Instagram, online forums. So, you know, depending on the city you're in, there could be hashtags, there could be groups, there could be anything like that. And getting involved with them to spread your message is always helpful. Basically, the message here is the more you can be online, even outside of payments, is so important, because if you've had to trim hours, so now that you're not open on Mondays, for example, where you've traditionally been open on Mondays, if someone drives across the city to come see you, you're not open, could lead to a bad Google review or anything. So using as many tools at your disposal as possible can help prevent this. Also, when you're online, people search online very differently. So before, someone might have, you know, we're going years and years ago, someone might have just randomly guessed www.jordansrestaurant.ca, or, you know, of course, you Google Jordan's Restaurant and we're trying to find it. But more commonly than not now, people are on Instagram and they're searching Jordan's Restaurant on Instagram. They're seeing what people are tagging of you. They're seeing your official page. So you really want to guide that message and draw them in with that. I know so many times when I'm traveling to another city, I just look at Instagram and I look at the pictures of different restaurants, and I see pictures of their meals and, you know, the atmosphere and everything like that. And that's how I make the decision of those, you know, couple nights that I'm in a different town where I'm going to be eating. So next we'll get a little bit more into e-commerce. So this probably isn't news for anyone. E-commerce just continues to grow. So more and more is being driven online. A great number to reference is just the e-commerce transaction volume. So in 2015, it was $45 billion. In 2019, it's gone up to $82.5 billion. So you're seeing almost doubled in 4 years. This is obviously due to a lot of different factors. So just internet is becoming more and more a part of everybody's lives. Retailers e-retailers specifically are offering discounts online versus in-store, so it's driving that online experience. And obviously, customers' preference for online transactions. Sometimes it's just more convenient to go onto an app, go online, whatever it is, to put your order through, whether that's for food and drink or if it's for any other segment. There's less and less of I want to go in and touch it and feel it, and more so ship it to me and I'll try it out when I come home, when it gets to me. The market for e-commerce is expected to reach $121 billion by 2023. And that's only been amplified by the pandemic spending and transition to online means of payments. Obviously, different markets have performed better in e-commerce in the past. So largely this was driven by travel and accommodations, which is not surprising because when you book a flight, it's a lot of money. However, the second highest was food and drink. So these are people going online to order food or going online to place catering orders or anything like that. And then it was followed by clothing, footwear, electronic goods, and entertainment. One thing we really just like to highlight is going online is more than just delivery, or it's more than just pickup. So, obviously the meals that you craft are your bread and butter, but there's different avenues to go into to diversify your e-commerce experience. We have a few great examples right here. So make-at-home meal kits have gone crazy since the pandemic started. So, come in, pick up, or get delivery of, these items, follow a pretty nice recipe, and make restaurant quality meals at home, ready to go meals. So these are things like whether it's a lunch or a dinner, and someone, meal prep essentially from a restaurant. Branded pantry items. So if you have, a wood spoon or something with your branding on it, or a steak knife, these are all things that you can do. Where regulations permit, you could offer exclusive wine and alcohol. And then obviously you can also partner with other local businesses. So if you're a sandwich shop, you can partner with a bakery and then, combine your offering, which is just great. And people love to know that they're supporting not one, but two local businesses. On the screen here, we have some great examples. So the first one here is King and Bannatyne, which is in Calgary. So what they did was make the make-at-home meal kits, and you can package them up, and these are lunch-sized portions of pre-made meals that you're able to take home. Patois in Toronto did a spin by offering a branded Sorrel cocktail. So it's a classic Jamaican holiday beverage, and you can just make it at home now. Maison Publique did an offering with organic product box from one of their favorite suppliers for a pickup at their restaurant. So they said, come pick up all these items, and it's, from organic and local suppliers. Or Model Milk offered a bundle with their apple pie with a pint of ice cream from another local shop. So this is where, I was talking about the sandwich shop and bakery, but of course, if you're any type of business, you can just find a local partner and work together, and then their audience becomes your audience becomes their audience, and we all kind of grow together. Another really interesting thing is being able to turn your customers or your guests into fans. So we all have our favorite restaurants or our favorite spots, and you can kind of get involved more so with merchandise, and you have to understand what merchandise makes sense for your business. So you have to ask, what is our brand? What is it that our customers love about us? And how are we unique? So there's a lot of ideas about this, but you have to really think, does it fit my brand? So if you're a fine dining restaurant, probably selling t-shirts doesn't align with your brand. However, if your fine dining restaurant is a steakhouse, maybe a nice branded steak knife is a great option for you. You can see here these beautiful salad bowls in the image here. These were from Mandy's Gourmet Salads, and they originally had this for a build your own salad bowl in the restaurant. However, as part of the COVID lockdowns, they pivoted and are offering these bowls for their loyal customer base for pickup and delivery orders, which is great. A big part of e-commerce or commerce in general is gift cards. So they're always a great tool for supporting local businesses. I know if I'm buying a gift card for a restaurant, I'm going to opt for a local business that I know. I'm going to try to find an experience that I love and share that with the ones that I love. So if I'm giving my mom or my sister or someone a gift card for a restaurant, I'm going to find a restaurant that I love and treat them to it. And this might be something that they haven't tried before. And this is becoming more and more common. We did a survey commissioned by Moneris that said 28% of Canadians are planning to buy more gift cards as gifts this year, given the safety restrictions. So gift cards are only going to ramp up more and more. E-gift cards are in particular great because you can sell them online and customers can email them to their loved ones without having to worry about being tied up in the postal service or whether or not we can visit people in the coming weeks. E-gift cards can be used online or they can be used in store. So no matter when they're using them, this is a great gift. And it's not too late to get set up. So obviously, we know from Moneris' data that 40% of gift card purchases typically happen in the 7 days before Christmas. So gift cards for restaurants in particular have been the highest top-up rates in the industry. So, just because you don't have a gift program today, you might think, oh, it's too late for Christmas, but it's really not, because people do a lot of their purchasing the week before, and then you're going to see all that volume trickle in January. So make fraud protection a priority. So as you get more online, don't forget to make fraud protection a priority. The first step is making your business secure against cyber attack, is taking an inventory of physical items you need to protect. Any technology connected to the outside world can be vulnerable to threats. You can start by making a list of your computers, your phones, terminals, and other items. Use an online payments solution for card not present transaction. They offer more fraud security than taking payments over the phone and reduces transaction fees because it's more secure. So that's kind of a throwback to what we started with, is if you are taking a lot of orders over the phone, you're a prime candidate for trying out either online orders, or even it's becoming more and more common being able to send invoices. A lot of times this was viewed as a professional services thing. However, it's getting really big in the catering space. So if someone's ordering for their holiday dinner, you can send an invoice. They can settle that up online securely through Apple Pay or Google Pay, and you're going to get a notification that, hey, this has been paid off, and you're ready to go for this Friday or this Saturday, whatever it is. A cyber attack can mean trouble for your business and reputation too. So start monitoring your brand online to prevent scammers from misusing your business name. So if you see an Instagram account pop up with your brand name or a similar brand name, this is something that you want to get on top of. You don't want someone pretending to be you, or mimicking your behavior online and guiding your customers in the wrong direction. So next, we're going to move into the new payment experience and the fact that it can happen anywhere. So digitals can help put customers at ease. So now almost 50% of transactions in store are done with contactless. So in April, Moneris worked with card brands and issuing partners to enable an increase of contactless transactions to ensure frictionless and safer commerce for all Canadians. This limit increased from 100 to $250 for Amex, American Express, MasterCard, and Visa. So contactless transactions over $100 were approximately 40% of all eligible transactions between May 24th and May 30th. So that means that transactions on these card plans between $100 and $250, 40% of them accepted tap. So if you weren't accepting tap before for whatever reason, it's more important now than ever. And in the restaurant space, the majority of our sales are going to be under this $250 limit. So just enabling a more contactless environment in any ways, whether someone's sitting in your restaurant, someone's doing curbside pickup, or you're doing delivery, coming to a door, just being able to tap is much easier than having to go through the whole insert and pin entry process. The average transaction size is now $148, and contactless volume also hit a record of 46.6% in June. So we're only going to see this go up. So contactless has always been important, but now it's even more important. Digital wallets is tied to the contactless payments, so they can be used online or in restaurant. So whether you're doing a checkout through UEats or you're doing a checkout on your own website or anywhere else, you can use your Google Pay or Apple Pay account to pay online, or you can bring that in store and tap as well. It speeds up the checkout process, reduces shopping cart abandonment because they don't have to enter data. They just complete with Apple Pay, complete with Google Pay, and the transaction just goes quicker. It makes e-commerce transactions more secure because they can enable other forms of authentication. So, your device might prompt you for your fingerprint, and it's no additional cost to enable. So if you're accepting contactless on your in-store terminals, they're automatically going to support these digital wallets. And if you're online, you just have to make sure you're set up, you're able to accept Apple Pay and Google Pay. If you're with Moneris, you can just check with your payment processor, but these are definitely things that you should want to support in 2020 and beyond. So another thing is we're talking about the contactless transactions and we're talking about online, but still people are going to be coming into your store, whether it's for pickup, whether it's for deliveries, whether it's curbside pickup, dining in, and it's, hopefully we all hope that eventually we return to normal and, our restaurants are full. Having the latest smart terminals just makes everything better. So you want to future-proof yourself. If you've been, if you're limited volume in your store, or if your store's closed down right now, this is a great time to switch out to a smart terminal. So not only will you be able to accept all forms of payments, they also have less maintenance required because they have digital setups and automated updates. For anybody who's on a really old terminal, like I kind of refer to those as, and maybe this is even too generous to them, but like those are flip phones and now we're on iPhones. So we can move to the latest and greatest things. Your guests are going to appreciate it when they have full color, full backlit screens in a dark restaurant. They're able to see everything clearly. They're able to see their payment options. It doesn't matter what card they're paying with, whether it's a local card or they're coming from overseas and bringing their own payments. These smart terminals accept it all. Usually these terminals, especially when they're coming from Moneris, they come with just additional smart capabilities. So everything's driven by the cloud now. So that means that you make a change on one terminal. So you set up tips on one terminal, it'll set up tips on all your terminals, has better security management because you're going to have user IDs and user control. So you can say, hey, my servers can do purchases, my shift leaders can do purchases and refunds, my managers can, do my end of day process, and only the owner of the store can control the settings. On the old terminals, this was not possible, but on these terminals, basically the sky's the limit. As we discussed earlier, data security is of the utmost importance. To give you and your customers peace of mind, make sure you are looking at smart terminals that feature out-of-the-box PCI compliance and also encrypt sensitive data. Is Moneris Go. So this is the latest payment terminal from Moneris, and it's, it has all the latest and greatest payment functionalities, and it's growing at a rapid pace, and you're going to be seeing more and more improvements come over the months. One of the cool things that I mentioned before was invoicing. Traditionally, this was something that you did online only, so you'd log into a portal and you'd be able to generate an invoice from your computer. But for some of us, our business is just on the terminal. It's me plus my terminal. So the terminal will be able to offer invoicing, so you can just send invoice to an email or a cell phone, and your guests or customers can settle up, and you'll get a notification on your terminal saying it was all done. So kind of just bringing you more flexibility, more functionality, letting you do the business the way you see fit. So whether that's online ordering, in-store payments, invoicing for ordering ahead, anything, you can do it all here. Obviously, with smart terminals, you're also seeing app integration. So if you have a POS system today, your POS should work with your smart terminal to be able to communicate back and forth, just to make your life easier. We're seeing more and more now, POS applications are being loaded directly on the terminal, so reducing the need to have both a tablet and a payment terminal. You can just have a payment terminal going forward. So definitely the future is bright for payments, whether you're online or in-store. So we've covered end-to-end from online ordering, whether that's through UEats, your website, one of the various marketplaces to get set up, doing e-commerce. So that's everything from having a website where you can order from, that's managing your brand online. So getting onto social media, seeing how people want to interact with you online and interacting back, responding to things like Google reviews, anything like that. For a lot of you, this is all reminders. These are things you're already doing, but these are things that you should start doing if you're not. And then, of course, looking at your infrastructure inside your store. So if you have a very old looking terminal, it doesn't look good on your brand. So moving to the latest and greatest payment terminal is great for your brand. It's great for your customers. It's great for your payment acceptance, because you're opening up more and more avenues. So now I just wanted to introduce you to my colleague, Chris. He's a regional sales consultant at Moneris. If you're interested in anything that we've been talking about in this presentation, whether it's getting a new smart terminal, it's getting set up with UEats, or online options that Moneris has to offer, his contact information is on the screen. You can give him a call, you can shoot him an email, and he'll be able to guide you through the resources that we have and show you how simple it is to get up and running on all of these different features and functionality. So I'm going to pause on this screen now, just in case anybody wants to copy down that information. But we're going to be moving into the questions in a second. So if you haven't got your questions in already, get them through. We can talk about anything that we covered on this presentation. We can talk about things that we didn't cover on this presentation. So if there's anything to do with payments or online marketing, online ordering, e-commerce that you've always been wondering, this is your opportunity to ask it. And now I think we're ready for questions.
Unmuted.
Perfect. Thank you so much for walking us through that, Jordan. A lot of exciting things. There's a couple things I liked what you shared, which some I think we've seen a lot of businesses pivot. We've seen a lot of restaurants take on new items. I love the idea of secret menus. I thought that was that's brilliant. It's something that I've seen before, but just reinforcing that is great. The exclusivity of being online to say, check out our online menu. From that perspective, is that something that you guys have seen with your restaurant partners, that those who are doing that are seeing that uptake?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is people always want to be an insider, right? We can see so many different avenues where this has happened, But yeah, if you're saying, order online for, our secret menu, people love knowing the secret menu. They love getting online and sharing your secret menu, right? To show that they're on the inside. And then that just is a snowball effect. They love being part of it, and they love sharing it to show that they're part of it. And then more people are being driven to your brand, your restaurant, your social media, your website, whatever it might be, and just engaging with you. And sharing out further. So all the effort you put in definitely comes back to you tenfold.
So, we talked about we talked about a few things going differently online, about how to do it and where to do it and so on. If I were a restaurant with no online sort of platform, anything at this point in time, what is my first step?
Yeah. So I think, it can seem overwhelming almost to think, okay, so I have to get a website, I need to get social media, I need to order online payments, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it can be overwhelming. It's a lot of stuff to do. However, if I was talking to my friend who had a restaurant, I was just starting a restaurant, I would say, make sure you get yourself a website. So that's very easy to do with plenty of tools nowadays. Moneris actually can help get you online on a website, just built a website for you, and it can just be a website for you so that you can give your contact information, let them know, and you can let that grow. So you can add things like online ordering if you need to in the future. But getting that website, that digital presence, is the most important thing. And then expanding that, and kind of in the same time, is getting onto social media. So there's always going to be the latest and greatest social media, but pretty standard for restaurants. You have Facebook and you have Instagram are kind of the two critical ones. You have to be on there because food is such a visual, a visual art, I'll call it. So being able to share that with your city, your community is vital. And depending on the demographic, they might engage more through Instagram, or they might engage more through Facebook. So get yourself each of those. And of course, you can expand. You can get on Twitter. You can get on anything else, TikTok, whatever you think might fit your brand. But those two, I would say, definitely are the minimum, that you want to be online with your website and you want to be online with Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, one of the things that we've seen throughout this, throughout the pandemic, was the move to Instagram. And what I liked about it was we saw many restaurants be a lot more transparent in what they were doing to reinforce the safety in regards to consumer confidence. So I thought that was a really great message that restaurants leveraged, specifically those two platforms to do.
Yeah, it's very hard to talk to your community. Posting a sign on your outside is great for the walk by traffic, but if someone lives on the other end of the city but they still enjoy your restaurant, they're not going to be able to see that. Being able to get them onto social media, people will search, so they will see your message on social media. But if you stay persistent in sharing content, whether that's on your wall or that's through your stories, so share updates on what you're doing because of COVID. Are you now offering delivery? Are you taking orders over the phone? Did you change orders? Hey, here's a new dish we have. You share all of that information. It engages people. If I see a restaurant that has 50 different posts, I'm thinking, I'm going to follow this restaurant, because if there's something new coming up, I'm going to see it here. If I see a page set up and there's no engagement, I'm probably not going to follow. I might still get some of the information, like hours that I need, but you really want people to follow and engage with your brand.
Agreed. Content is still king.
Yeah.
I love that chart you showed about just the transactions by category, and how, food service is at the top there. I'm going to guess you've probably seen a spike in that growth in the past 10 months.
Yeah, it's in a variety of different ways. So that chart was e-commerce specifically. So we're talking about the marketplaces, we're talking about online, and it's definitely spiked since March. Another little tidbit of information is we're also seeing a spike. So we're card not present or taking orders over the phone has been decreasing for years. So every year we see a decrease of 10% or so over the last year. In this year, starting in March, it just started going up 10% every month. So we're seeing a much higher average in 2020 than we saw in 2019. And that's because we had to adapt, and restaurants had to adapt. And the easiest way for them to do that was taking orders over the phone. But as we said, that might not be the most secure method. So getting online, getting set up with UEats or doing invoicing, those are all alternative methods. But again, if you're doing orders over the phone, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. If that's how you can continue doing business, keep doing it.
And actually, that's a really good segue into fraud protection. So I'm glad we didn't practice that before we started the webinar. But is there any program or platform that you suggest for protection? And what does Moneris do, or what does my terminal do versus my POS? Anything? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So your payment provider, whoever it is, whether it's Moneris or someone else, should have security first and foremost. So I'm on the product side, so I develop products and I come up with interesting ideas and different ways we can do that. And always the first conversation we have internally is this secure? Does this compromise the merchants? Does this compromise the cardholders in any way? So we're always looking at that. When you're doing online, we have so many built-in fraud tools, whether it's through some of our partners like Count, or if it's internal tools that we've developed ourselves. And some of that comes with that flagging, as I kind of referenced before. If you switch to just doing card not present transactions from taking order, going over the phone versus in person, that's a security and a fraud tool that's flagging that to Moneris or any other payment processor and saying, hey, there's been a change here. And it's very similar to put it into the consumer space. If if anybody's ever traveled, sometimes your card might get locked because you do a very big transaction on the other side of the world. Your bank's protecting you, and that's the same way your payment processors do. So, almost universally across the industry, security is number one. So with your payment terminals with Moneris, all the data is always encrypted, so there's no chance of anybody grabbing it in the middle. When it's online, we're always following the latest security and compliance mandates, and we're throwing in as many tools as possible to keep you safe.
So at the end of the day, with a terminal plus my online ordering platform, there really isn't necessary. It's not maybe necessary to get another layer of protection from a third party when my partners have a lot of that in place already.
Yeah. I would say for the majority of businesses, the services that your payment provider should be providing you, should be sufficient. Obviously, there's always those best practices. So whenever possible, taking contactless or insert transactions rather than over the phone and swipe, transferring to online, whether that's through invoicing or through an e-commerce website. Those are always best practices that you can follow. And then you can rely on your payment provider to offer at least, the security that you'd expect from them.
Got it. And we know that security comes very strong with these new smart terminals. So I just want to touch on these smart terminals a little bit. Great, I can upgrade to these smart terminals, but what about my POS? Do I have to upgrade that? What are my, I guess, obstacles or potential roadblocks or opportunities with these new smart terminals?
Yeah, so obviously it depends on what POS you have, what terminal we're talking about. They're all a little bit different, but for the most part, if you have a payment terminal that's currently integrated with your POS, so that means you're, in a sit-down restaurant, you're doing the pay at table environment where it's pulling tables, or if you're more in a quick service environment, you have a POS that's pushing to your payment terminal. Either one of those are integrations. So sometimes when you're moving from one generation to the next generation, maybe your POS provider hasn't updated their integration into whoever your payment provider is. However, most of them are doing their best to support the latest and greatest because they also don't want to be held back. So that's one thing you should always look for is, one, does your payment provider support an integration into that terminal? And two, does your POS provider support that specific integration? But all of those things should always come in time. So if it's not there yet, no matter who you're with, it should probably be there shortly. The real opportunity with these smart terminals is being able to eliminate costs, in my opinion. So eliminate costs by delivering more value and removing friction. So, and what I'm saying here is, if you're a restaurant and you have your tablet to run your POS application, you're either buying or renting those tablets. And if they break, if you're in a rental model, hopefully there's some type of repair. If you own it, you're probably out of luck, and you could be spending, $500 to $1,000 to get a new one. With these payment terminals, a lot of times POS applications can be loaded directly on them. So if you're working with any of the major POS providers, a lot of them are moving towards getting applications on these smart terminals so that you can give a server a payment device, and then we can do things instead of just pay at table, which we're all used to now. You can do order at the table. So my server's standing next to the table, I take an order, I punch it in on the terminal, and I can pay at the same time, I can pay after, whatever it is. So it's basically removing the amount of pieces that you need. Of course, you always have the ability to have that tablet still integrated into these terminals, but it's just offering more flexibility depending on how you want your business to work.
And that was actually going to be my next question, was that can these smart terminals actually replace ordering terminals?
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of the driving factor right now. Some businesses might say that, that doesn't meet their needs at the current time, but, for a lot of them, it just eliminates costs and eliminates points of failure, I'd say. If, one thing runs out of batteries versus the other, now you only have to worry about one piece of equipment.
Got it. Yeah, and I think that that efficiency and bringing that frictionless environment in is not only helpful to the staff but helpful to the consumer as well. At the end of the day, just like you said earlier, making a more efficient transaction for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Wanted to touch on your contactless payments. There's a stat that you pointed out there that in the month of June, 46.6% of transactions were contactless payments. Is that correct?
Yep, that's so. With the increase of limit from $100 to $250, consumers really took advantage of this and they tapped whenever possible. This number would even be higher, obviously, if every single merchant accepted contactless. So yeah, it's people are getting used to it. People want to do it. Even now, outside of the restaurant space, I can tap for groceries now. Whether that's good or bad, it means I'm spending too much on groceries. But you can tap on anything now, and it's become second nature for people to tap. So it's kind of jarring when they get a terminal and they try to tap and you can't tap.
It happens to me all the time, and I'm a big fan of my digital wallet on my iPhone, personally. And I'm assuming, do you see that market share continuing to grow?
Yeah, for sure. And as those tools offer more value, now you can load gift cards into a lot of them. You can load your loyalty programs. You can have multiple cards. It's just becoming more and more convenient. So as things transfer into those wallets, more and more people will use them. And obviously, it's been around for a while, but it is still like a cutting edge technology. A lot of people aren't using it, but more and more people are, especially as some of the younger people age into, our consumer base. They're already using these things. So maybe they're not spending at restaurants today, but in a couple of years, they will be spending at restaurants.
Talk about future-proofing yourself for sure. You mentioned, you just alluded to being able to put gift cards onto your mobile device. And listen, given everything that's happening throughout the industry at this time, gift cards are just one of the major ways you can support that your favorite local restaurants through lockdown. And you mentioned that gift cards show the highest top-ups per industry. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're seeing, or we've seen that restaurants are definitely the number one beneficiary from gift cards. So, traditionally, you think of the big box stores buying a gift card and you can use it anywhere. That's great, but people are more and more going after their local community, and they're seeing their local restaurant or anything like this, and they're buying gift cards there. So we're seeing volumes of gift card purchases and gift card activations, and also gift card top-ups. So, they already have an amount and they're adding more onto it, more and more in the restaurant space. The numbers are astronomical, and we're doing everything we can to support restaurants to get these gift programs up and running. E-gift cards is, one there too, is you can get an e-gift card and you can email that to someone. So even if you might not be seeing them in person, or if you don't want to send it in the mail, you can just send them an email with the gift card and they can use that either in store or online.
No, that's awesome. And just one last question here, getting back to the terminals real quick. But in terms of process, how do these smart terminals that can almost replace or replace the ordering terminals, how do they communicate with the kitchen and back of house?
Yeah, so they would still be utilizing the systems that you have today. So you have your full restaurant management system. So whether you're using someone like a Touch Bistro, a Lightspeed, Silverware, Vexilor, any of these great POS providers, they have your whole back end and front end order system. So what we're talking about here is being able to just take that iPad or that computer that you have stationed at your bar and take that software and put it onto this terminal. So then when the POS, when you type in, a burger and fry, or you burger, fry, and a beer, then your POS software is still taking care of sending the burger and fry to the kitchen and the beer to the bar. It's just now it's all taking place on one piece of hardware. So we're definitely not looking to take over what the POSs are doing. We're just trying to make it simpler for restaurants to utilize both of us.
Perfect. Technology and new technology especially can be incredibly daunting. So I know that anything that we can do to make it easy for the operator, which translates hopefully to a much more efficient and seamless transaction for the consumer, is only beneficial all the way down.
For sure.
That wraps it up at this point. Jordan, anything before we close it off that you'd like to add?
No, I just, I thank everyone for joining. And also, I just wanted to point out again, my colleague Chris, who's been on the call, if you do have any questions on getting a smart terminal, getting online, please feel free to reach out, whether you're with Moneris or not. We can help you with solutions. So definitely an opportunity there. Definitely also, if you haven't heard of YouEat yet, check it out. Check out the website, see the awesome offering that they have, because it's just, we're looking at ways. So even if you can't do it this year or early next year, you should plan for the future, because COVID or not, these things are here to stay. And we just need to give you all the tools that you need to remain successful.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody who tuned in as well. Thank you for spending some time with us today. If you have a question or you think of something after, feel free to reach out to, like I said, Chris's contact information was on the screen, or feel free to send them over to us. We'll be sure to get them to our expert Jordan here. But once again, Jordan and the rest of the team there, thank you so much for sharing that your knowledge today. For everyone who took the time to join us today, take some time out of your day, really appreciate you spending some time with us, and stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.